What's going on with you? West Coast, Bay Area, Sacramento, Bay Valley. I'm talking about we in here with no other than a Bay Area pioneer legend. For the ladies, I'm talking about more than just the Bay Area. I'm talking about the West Coast pioneer lady, female rapper. You feel me? We are in here with no other than CMG from Conscious Daughters. What's going on with you?
Hey, Nico Vision, what it do? How you doing?
Hey,
Thank
how
you
you
for having
doing,
me.
Mom? Thank you for being here with us. We
Pleasure.
appreciate it.
One finger on a zap, looking for some brothers in a Cadillac. Yeah, we on point, rolling in a point. Special one at CMG, blazing up a joint, keeping a steady pace in a car race, siding on a strip with a grip and an eighth in my glove case. Never leaving a trace, believing the 5-0's blind, cause you know I'm conscious of these streets of mine. Rolling lit with the tent shed shallow, and I'll be back around the block for brothers to jock tomorrow. From East Oak to the beat town, looking for a freak now, with hella scratch to get at. Check it, CMG on a mission to get with some brothers to ride on this Fonky Expedition. Funky Expedition, Expedition, Funky Expedition, Expedition, Funky Expedition, Expedition, Funky Expedition, Funky Expedition, Expedition, Funky Expedition, Expedition.
We're gonna start off and asking you, CMG, where was you born at?
I was born in Oakland, California.
Okay.
I was raised in Berkeley, Oakland, and El Cerrito. My family moved around, but basically Bay Area native. My father is from Philadelphia. My dad was a crooner. All of his best friends are mega stars. One of his best friends is lead singer of the Temptations.
Oh wow.
Another one of his best friends is a man by the name of Frankie Beverly from Mays. And so I grew up around a lot of creative people. My mother is 100% Native American Indian from Yosemite National Park, where she was born and raised at the bottom of El Capitan.
Okay,
And,
we can see it.
So yeah, so they basically met at Oakland Army Base and kind of moved into Berkeley, where it was cool to have, you know, interracial kids. So I grew up in Berkeley, and then we kind of, you know, moved out through Oakland and El Cerrito and Richmond area. So, you know, I'm a Bay native, you know what I'm saying? I was just a band baby. Growing up, the Berkeley Greek Theater, running around with my hair all over the place because my mama didn't know what to do with it. And then my dad would just take it and put it on the top, put a tie around it. But, you know, but yeah, I'm a Bay native.
So
True story.
Bay Area girl, okay.
Yeah, let me let you know about a special one too. You know, so the other Conscious daughter is originally from Seattle, and she was born and raised in Richmond, and born and halfway raised in Richmond, and then she moved to Oakland. So she was, you know, naturally from East Oakland, California as well. So.
Oh, nice.
So we got a nice
And you
flavor,
guys grew up
little
together as
seasoning.
kids, or?
Yeah. So you know how we met is, you know, Carol grew up on 35th. And her mom always said, you know, her mom didn't want her to go to Oakland schools because at the time, you know, the Oakland school system wasn't looking good back in the 80s, right? So she bused her all the way to El Cerrito High School, right? And the thing is we met in junior high school. We had a mutual friend, and our mutual friend, we kind of stopped hanging around with her. Me and Carol was like, we had so much in common at the time. Me coming up from a band background, you know, Frankie Beverly and Mays came to live in my house when I was, you know, like 5 years old. My dad was pretty much the person, my caretaker. My mom was a nurse, so she worked all kind of crazy hours. So I kind of grew up with them. You know, they would be rehearsing and having, you know, band practice, and, you know, I'm just running around. There's tons of weed, which is probably why I don't really smoke weed like that, because I grew up around so much of it. But, and then with Carol, her mother worked at a radio station called KDIA Radio, which is a really popular radio station from the Bay.
Oh, wow.
And so her mom used to take her to work with her. So Carol learned how to operate all the boards in the radio station. She knew how to do reel-to-reels, cassette tapes, hook up everything at a very young age. So when we met, it was like, wow, we were so into music that we just clicked. And we met at around age 13 or 12.
Okay.
And so that's when she told her mom she wanted to go to the high school that I was going to. I was like, come to El Cerrito. I'm going to El Cerrito High, because I was living in Richmond at the time, right? Richmond Hills. And so that's how it went. Her mom put her on the bus, and she came to El Cerrito High School. And it's a crazy story, because when she got there, she took the radio class. There's a radio class at, you know, most high schools have radio classes. Well, 9th grade, she walks in the radio class. The teacher meets her and says, oh, nice to meet you. You know what I'm saying? She knew how to work everything in the radio station already. So he was like, well, I can't teach you anything, but I'll make you the program director. So you can direct all the kids and help me teach. And she did that for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
It was a small 10-watt radio station called K Cmg. They still have it at El Cerrito High School. And so I would cut class and go down there. And we started making cassette tapes. We utilizing the reels. We used all the equipment in there to start making our tapes. We made hundreds of cassette tapes at K Cmg.
Oh, wow.
And then we put our name and phone number on there. We was like, but more importantly, we did a live radio show.
So those
live
like your
raps,
first
live
times
scratching.
recording.
Carol was a DJ initially, you know, she was Special K. So she knew how to mix and scratch at a very early, so people used to tune in and listen to us. We were basically stars as early as 9th grade. In addition to that, she was a super sports star.
Oh, okay.
She played on the women's basketball team. She was hitting over 30 points a game.
Wow.
She stayed in the newspaper. She was the softball queen of the whole women's softball team. Took them all the way to the championships. Wow. Just an amazing person overall, you know. So we were in high school. We were really pretty popular at that time.
Oh, wow.
It was a great early life for us. We really started in music really early, and being friends really early is something that really made our chemistry what it is and what it was moving forward. So
that's
yeah.
pretty much when you guys started, like, you know, kind of getting into the music.
Oh, yeah.
When you guys linked in together right there.
Yeah, once we met each other, you know, I was like, you know this song? She was like, you know that song? You know this song? Oh, I know that song. So when we got to the radio station, you know, her mom worked at at KDIA. So Carol would get cassette tapes from all the New York stations through her mother. Her mom would get all the Mr. Magic Show, all the Awesome 2 stuff, everything from New York. So we had all the New York songs, and she was getting the Wax too, Imperial Brothers, anything you can name, all the Sugar Hill stuff, just, you know, all the Cutting Records stuff, all the Wild Style stuff, everything that was out in New York in the 80s, we had it all. And we used to just rap over all the instrumentals and stuff. And one thing we didn't do was breakdance, but you know, we used to really, you know, make music around all of that stuff because we had access to it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, you know, came to listen to the radio station and was like, dang, who are these girls? You know what I'm saying? And we started making mixtapes and things like that. And, you know, we started really early. So that's really a true testament to the legacy that we have created that we now have.
That's real.
Yeah.
And can we ask around what year that was?
Well, I'm only 35. Nah, it was in the 80s.
Okay.
I ain't gonna tell you what year.
Because I like to, you know, remind people because of the years to let them really know how you are, you know, a true pioneer.
Yeah. So, you know, we graduated from high school in 85. Don't tell nobody. So between 80, the early, you know, so 81, 2, 3, 4, 5, we was heavily into everything.
Okay. That
you can think of. From here, I mean, all the Short Dog stuff, you know, all the early rappers that came out of here, Calvin T, we had all of that. We had the Wax, and we had like the cassettes. I say we, it was really her. But when we got into the radio station, we was playing all of that. People were just kind of blown away by it, quite frankly. They would tune in because you couldn't get that nowhere else. All we had was KFRC, rock stations and stuff like that.
Oh,
it was
wow.
really before the hip hop stations came out.
And that's kind of going into my next question too, kind of like how was the music industry during that time? Like you said, you only had one hip hop station, huh?
Yeah, we didn't have any.
Wasn't around?
Well, when we started on that radio station, there was no KML was not around.
Oh, wow.
KML started off as a rock station.
Okay.
KML in the 1980s was called Camel. They had a Camel, It was called KMEL, but it was Camel, and it was all rock.
Oh wow. Thought I
So
did hear
we had
something
one
about them,
station
too.
called KFRC, and they used to play like Elton John, a lot of soft rock, which, you know, I probably, if you put me on Name That Tune, I could probably name every damn song from the 80s, any genre except reggae or country. Just because that was all we had was KFRC, and they played a lot of, you know, rock stuff. So we had our background was pretty phenomenal when it came to our music experience. You know what I'm saying? So
You guys was running a kind of a station before KMEL there.
oh yeah, we was on the radio before KMEL came out,
Oh,
for
wow.
sure, for
That's
sure.
tight.
But it was a small 10 watt, so that means it went from like Richmond to, I don't know, Fairfield, and then maybe that way to like Hayward or San Leandro. People would be like, oh, I'm in Sac and I can get you, because they could tune in. Back then you had to tune the radios.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't no apps and none of that. So we'd be like, you calling from Sac? You can hear us all the way in Sac. We used to get juice. Some people could get us. It depends on the frequency of your radio and where you at. But yeah, 10 watts is not big. When KMEL is, hey, come here, Kai, come here. It's not a lot when you have, you know, KMEL's, you know, thousands and thousands of watts. You know what I'm saying? Come here.
But that was a pretty good, you know, frequency. I mean, to reach that many cities like that.
Yeah, we didn't care. We was local famous.
Yeah, real talk.
and she was already famous for her, you know, sports. And then also in high school, she was like most like the funniest. Most likely, when you open the yearbook and it's most likely to do this and that, she has like 6 or 7 of those categories.
Wow.
Fun, most funniest, most likely to, you know, the best sport. You just on and on. Like all these accolades that she got in school. Her jersey is actually hanging in the gym. And her name is like embedded in that school forever. So to me, you know, that is like a high accomplishment. I have no sports bones in my body. I was a watcher. I went there for the boys, okay? I was there like just a cheerleader. Like I can't be tossing balls around and shit. That was her thing, that she was born with that talent. You know what I'm saying? So that was that.
Oh well, that's tight though.
I could rap though. And
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't cool back then to be light-skinned and rapping. They'd be looking at you like, girl, because, you know, Roxanne Shante was out. And, you know, it was a lot. All the fly-ass rappers was dark-skinned women. MC Shy-Rock, who is one of my favorites, shout out. I had the pleasure of meeting and speaking with her. I think I cried on that day because she is one of the biggest influences. But as soon as the real Roxanne came out and Sparky D, oh, I was full of myself. I was like, okay, real Roxanne. She's Dominican or Puerto Rican or something. And she was pretty. She had long hair and she was rapping. She was spitting that stuff. So I used to imitate her on the radio station. I would do her songs.
Oh wow.
I would do her songs, and then she would, you know, be my inspiration. And then Sparky D came around. She was, you know, Dominican. I don't know. They're all from New York. But it made it okay for light-skinned girls to rap. And finally, I was doing it anyway. They didn't know what I looked like. They didn't care because I was on there spitting those rhymes real early.
So can I ask you now then, so as you guys were, you know, becoming your guys' group, doing everything, when did you actually kind of, you know, start working on a real album?
Yeah, it's a trip, you know. So all through high school, we did all this music stuff, right? We graduated from high school. We say, okay, we're going to college. So I'm just getting there. So Carol, you know, she was, Cheryl Miller was the coach at USC.
Okay.
And she came there to see Carol. She was like, I want to bring you to USC. Like, she was off the hook like that. She was ding, 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 ding. And so she was supposed to go to USC. And I was just going to go to junior college because I didn't do anything special. My grades was okay. And I was like, well, I'm going to go to junior college. I'm going to study computers because I heard that's what's the new thing. Right? This was before computers. Like, we're really out. And so Carol got injured the last season. And she never went to USC. She got at a high school basketball game. She tore her knee. She tore something in her knee and she had to get orthoscopic surgery. And her dreams were just shattered based on doing basketball at USC. Somebody else got that position. She never pursued it because we ended up doing music. But for me, I'll give you, before we tell you how we got into the music, she never did that, but she did go on to community college, and I went on to community college. And when I got there,
The same college or?
Yeah, I went to DVC.
Okay.
Yeah, and she went to Contra Costa. I mean, not Contra Costa. Laney. She went to Laney College. But I had, when I got there, I was like, I don't really like this. All I like is my computer class. So I looked at my parents. They was like, well, where are you going to be? What are you going to do? So I said, okay, I'm going to just take computer classes, right? So I found this school in San Francisco, and it was like a quickie course. You learn computer, basics on computer. It was $5,000. I was like, how the hell am I going to pay this? Because it was so much back then. $5,000 was so much. This is the late 80s, like 88, 89. Well, maybe not even before the 87-ish.
Okay.
So I get to the computer class, and they have job placement. So I'm like, I'm getting a job. Even though I can rap, we weren't trying to be rappers. We knew we had to get jobs and make money. Because we come from hustling families, right? And we're both only children. And our parents work. So that's what we knew we had to do. So I get a place at this job called in Alameda, little software startup company called Spectrum Holobyte. They said, okay, you're gonna go be a receptionist. They're gonna operate the computer, do their data entry. So I get there, and not even a month while I'm there, this guy comes in, and he's really tall, white guy. I can never forget him in my life. He's like 7 feet tall, big afro out to here. He's from Russia. And he said, hi, my name is Alexei Pajitnov, and I have an idea for a game called Tetris. I'm here to meet Guillaume and Louis, your boss. And so what happened was he's the inventor of Tetris.
Oh, wow.
And so what happened, I ended up being on the original development team for the first version of the game Tetris. When the guy invented it, I sat in all the meetings with him. I know him like this. That's how his name is Alexei Pajitnov. It's like, I'll never forget it. And so, I was working there. I ended up on the original development team for that. I started as a receptionist. They moved me into product support. I started getting on the phones. I moved up really quickly, working with all these smart people. I was, of course, the only black person there. And I'm a half-breed, you know what I mean? So then one of my coworkers, he leaves and he goes, to Lucasfilm. And he called me like about 2 months later. He was like, hey, I'm at Lucasfilm. You said you want to be a video dancer? Come work over here. So I leave there. I go work for Lucasfilm.
Uh-huh.
I'm at Lucasfilm on Skywalker Ranch. Looking out my window, I see Linda Ronstadt's llama all over the place. I'm just 2 black people that I've ever seen on Skywalker Ranch. This is around 1990-ish, 89, 90. And there's just no black people. All the black people I see down there is like actors or actresses that walking around, And so I'm like, wow. So I ended up, I'm sorry, what?
What city was it in?
Oh, San Rafael.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Skywalker Ranch.
Okay.
Yeah, it's where he made all. It's right now they've moved to Treasure Island, but Skywalker Ranch and their sound stage was all in San Rafael, right? So I worked on his ranch, and it was so beautiful. You had to take these windy roads in the cut to get there, and I ended up being an assistant producer on the video games, Star Wars, Indiana Jones and Last Crusade, Zach McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders, The Secret of Monkey Island, another game called Loom, and a couple of games.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sitting here with all these creative people who would go on to like start Pixar and start all these companies that are really big now. But I'm sitting here and they're all brainstorming like, well, who can we make this character? Like, we have to put a villain, like a person. And then they looked at me and they was like, would you be interested? Like, they were talking about drawing my face into the video game.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a character called Carla the Swordmaster in Lucasfilm games. And I stayed there for a while, but how we...
What was the gaming for? Was it for what, Nintendo, or what was it for, Atari?
Oh no, they were all disc-based games for all consoles.
For all consoles. Okay.
Yeah, they were doing, the Star Wars was available on, Apple IIgs, the Mac when it came out, the PCs, and we had discs, the mini discs, big discs. It was all different formats.
Oh, wow.
So I started getting really good at software development, and that would follow me for many, many years. While I was rapping, I was still doing software development. So even now today, I'm really, 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 really like savvy in software, period. Like, I can figure some shit out because I come from development. I know how things work from the core. So it's easy for me to like figure a lot of stuff out. And at this time, I'm like, man, so how we got started, see, I was pursuing that. Kara was going to Laney. and pursuing her dreams, studying. You know, she was trying to get a degree, her AA degree. But in the meantime, we had those cassette tapes that we made at high school, right? So we started going to the clubs. You know, we weren't 21 yet, but we started going to, you know, the Palladium and all these different clubs that were 18 and up, and passing out our tapes to people. We wrote our phone numbers on there. There wasn't no cell phones and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? So we wrote our phone numbers, and we went to this Digital Underground album release party. This was after we turned around 21, and Paris was there. And Paris, if you don't know, he's a Black Panther of hip hop from San Francisco. He put out, you know, The Devil Made Me Do It, and, you know, a lot of stuff like that. And, you know, we used to have jackets and hats that said Conscious Daughters, you know, like, remember when you could roll up in the mall and get your name on the back of the jacket and make some hats? And we had all that. So everywhere we went, we had Conscious Daughters. And, you know, when he saw that, he was like, Conscious Daughters? So he had to investigate, you know, because he's a conscious Black man. We weren't that conscious. Our conscious was like a social conscious. Like, that name came because a producer once told us, y'all always know where the parties is at, everything's happening. He was socially conscious. So I call you Conscious Daughters. And we kind of kept the name, but we weren't really like Black politically conscious. Even though we stood for a good cause, we always uplifted women in all the songs that we did. So when we met him, he was like, what is this about? You know what I'm saying? So he walked over to us, introduced himself. We gave him a tape. Bam! You know what I'm saying? Because we used to just walk in clubs and just get on the mic. Carol was an awesome freestyler. And me, I always kept one in my back pocket because I was not that good off of talking about your shoes. And like, she'll be like, nigga, why you got them shoes? And some just like freestyling about what you wearing and shit. Me, I had to just come out the pocket with something. But I always kept the freestyle tucked somewhere because she's the type of person that just throw you the mic. CMG, tell him something. Okay, yeah, so, you know, I'd be ready, right? That's where we come from. You know, if you're an MC, niggas will put you on the spot in a minute. Bust a rhyme, bust a rap. These kids can't do that. They can't. I done seen a whole bunch of them, like, put them on the spot and say, all right, bust a rhyme right now. All right, hold on, give me a minute. Let me get my phone, get my lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Nah, we ain't come from that. We really had to show and prove, you know, who we were when we was coming up. But once we met Paris, he called us. And he wanted to have a meeting and said, you know, I'm starting this label, and, you know, I really like your shit. I love your lyrics, but I don't care for them beats. You know what I'm saying? The beats is whack, but y'all bomb. So I'm just like, man. But, you know, it was a great experience. And I'm so grateful. Like, and I think back of all the shit that we've been through. We went to New York and got so much love. It was ridiculous. We got there to Awesome 2. First of all, we signed with Paris. And he had just left Tommy Boy Records, which was really popular in New York. And he started his own label. As soon as we came on board, we did a song called Fonky Expedition. And it blew up in the Bay Area. And Priority Records came along and picked us up.
So you just dropped a single?
Yeah, he dropped this. Yeah, he dropped this. Well, actually, he dropped the album. But the single blew up. And then what happened once the single blew up is he didn't sell us to Priority, but he went to Priority with his project and our project. Then we had millions of dollars. We went from spending thousands on our marketing to spending millions. We had billboards on Crenshaw Boulevard. We had bus stops. We had, you know, we riding around the bus stop. We're like, is that us on the bus stop? We was on the side of a bus. Is that us on the bus? Like, we was like, so they spent so much money.
So first you guys put the album together with Paris, and then you guys sent it over to Priority?
No, so he took the demo that we had, and he said, okay.
Demo of one song or a full
No,
album?
we had like 5 or 6 songs on there, I'm sure.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly what they were, but basically we all sat down and he said, I like these songs, what do you think? He said, I don't care if y'all can keep all this shit, let's just do some new beats. So what happened, we went in the studio, we took the songs that we already had, we redid them, but then we started upgrading the rhymes. It just got better because we had already recorded that. So we kind of took it to the next level, and the confidence kicked in. Once the confidence kicked in, we was just talking shit. Carol was the leader of that. She was such a great spirit, such an awesome person, 1000% comedian, life of the party, gets along with everybody. Because we used to hang out with like a lot of rockers and stoners in high school, and all them people love us, you know what I mean? And so it was just, it was an amazing chemistry between the three of us that really brought the first 2 albums that we put out. And Priority was excited about it. They were like, we were the only women in the history of Priority Records to be signed directly to Priority. So that is a big thing. To me, you know, it's just a great thing, you know.
So you got the first album out, so you got a few songs, Paris, you guys go to Priority. So what do you guys do with Priority? You guys start working on that first project, or?
No, once the project was out, Priority said, all right.
10:35 on a Saturday night, the mob is rolling deep, hitting switches, I'm feeling alright. Me and my homies just T-Cat, and special one, we do it in the summer in Oaktown. It's strictly fun, check the episode and the flow as I run it down to you. Ask you how it sound to you, see I grew a little in 92, and now it's 94 and see it's doper than most. Getting paid while them other fools fade, cause they can't come close. I'm on some new improved, gotta get mine type trick. When the rhyme hit, you're not to mess with. The C before the MG, never friendly, cause I never see the value when you getting close to me, and that's real, G. So check out the realism in words written, the kitten you never hitting, still shocking it, and giving y'all a little more of that funky good ghetto sound. So don't sleep when I creep, yeah, I'm rolling deep. We rolling deeper, yeah, we rolling deeper. You know we rolling deeper than most. Yeah, we rolling deeper, so bump it in your speakers and let the daughters freak you the most. Yeah, we rolling deeper, the in the freezer, we with the most. Hit that. We rolling deeper, so bump it in your Jeeper, because we rolling deeper than most. Now it's time for the special one to do work, cause brothers say I'm doing work, or better yet they say that I'm doing dirt. With federal, I'm a factor from Motown, so check the episode, cause I'll be raw when I throw down. Oh, now I see so many rappers is running up, so many devils wanna get a taste of that Scarface cut, but they ain't fooling with the women on the roster, cause we got you now, who's hot and who's not. We getting straight props, back it up, I'm coming through the knuckle dirty slap, happy snitch, killer player from the O, it's letting brothers know, CCD in full effect is not to be touched, kid, never know, not even a little, cause the style is dope. So this time you see me coming into your town, a simple what up, K, peace out in the shake or a pound, and then raise up, cause groupies they irritate, here today, but what can I say, I'm on the creep, we rolling deeper, yeah, we rolling deeper.
The best agent in the business, Kara Lewis, William Morris Agency. So now we're on tour with Ice Cube, just everybody you can think of, like Ice Cube, Tribe Called Quest, Outkast. We left, we weren't even in the Bay, which is why I think we were never on I Got Five on it, because we got a call that I Got Five on it was happening, but we were in another country. And we had to be back in 3 days, which wasn't gonna happen, because people paid for us. So, you know, that's the one thing I'm mad about. I'm mad that we're not on I Got Five on it.
The remix.
Right. But the remix, yeah, that would have been hard. Like, that's one thing I'm missing from the resume. But yeah, we left and we toured. We were out, we were gone. Like, we made tons of money, and a lot of it we lived off of for a long time. We had great accountants. Our accountant said, okay, just because you got the, look, back then $10,000 a show was a lot, right? So I'm like, $10,000? Well, we getting $10,000. It's only $5,000 a week. But you're thinking in the early 90s, you know, we racking them up. We racking it up. And then we kind of went up after that as we started touring with like the big people. You know, we went up. And sorry about that. And so, but yeah, so what we did with Priorities, we got the agent, and then we got on tour. And the tour was just amazing. We did down south, we did so big. We had in-stores. We went to LA, Tower Records turned the whole thing into a Conscious Daughters thing. We would pull up to the in-store, which means we're gonna go in and sign posters and CDs. Back when you had to buy CDs, this was before the MP3, mind you. So you had to go in a store, buy a cassette or a CD in order to play it. Mind you, these are $14, of which we're getting like 3 per CD. We sold hundreds of thousands of dollars of this. Now, people are not getting paid like that these days. You know, a stream, I think YouTube pays you $150 for like 1 million streams or something ridiculous like that. It's highway fucking robbery. right? So, but back then we sold physical copies of CDs. So, you know, we made a lot of money. The tour money, like these kids, they get on the road now, they make all their money from shows. Back then, our show money was lower than our royalty money that off of, you know, the sales of our stuff. So selling hundreds of thousands of records and you getting $3 a pop, of course we got to pay the manager, the road manager. You know, it's not people that we had to pay because we were literally on the road. Security, that type of stuff. But it was just the greatest thing, you know, and they put us on the road, and we just went on. We started doing television. We did BET. We did MTV.
We rolling deep, so bump it in your speakers and let the daughters freak you the most. We rolling deep, the in the freezer. We with the most. We rolling deep, so bump it in your Jeep because we rolling deeper than most. 10:35 on a Saturday night, the mob is rolling deep, hitting switches. I'm feeling alright. Me and my homies just T-Cat. A special one, we do it in the summer in Oaktown. It's strictly fun. Check the episode and the flow as I run it down to you. Ask you how it sound to you. See, I grew a little in 92, and now it's 94. And see, it's doper than most. Getting paid while them other fools fade, cause they can't come close. Yeah. I'm on some new improve, gotta get my type trick. When the rhyme hit, you're not to mess with. The C before the MG, never friendly, cause I never see the value when you getting close to me. And that's real, G. So check out the realism in words written. The kitten you never hitting, still shocking it. And giving y'all a little more of that funky good ghetto sound. So don't sleep when I creep, yeah, I'm rolling deep. We rolling deeper, yeah, we rolling deeper. You know we rolling deeper than most. Yeah, we rolling deeper, so pump it in your speakers and let the daughters freak you the most. Yeah, we rolling deeper, the in the freezer. We with the most. Hit that. We rolling deeper, so pump it in your Jeep because we rolling deeper than most. Now it's time for the special one to do work, cause brothers say I'm doing work, or better yet they say that I'm doing dirt. With federal, I'm a factor from Motown. So check the episode, cause I'll be raw when I throw down. Oh, now I see so many rappers is running up. So many devils wanna get a taste of that Scarface cut, but they ain't fooling with the women on the roster, cause we got you now. Who's hot and who's not? We getting straight props. Back it up, I'm coming through the knuckle dirty slap. Happy snitch killer playing from the O. It's letting brothers know CCD in full effect is not to be touched, kid. Never know, not even a little, cause the style is dope. So this time you see me coming into your town. A simple what up, K? Peace out in the shaker or pound. And then raise up, cause groupies they irritate. Here today, but what can I say? I'm on the creep, we rolling deep. We rolling deeper, yeah, we rolling deeper. You know we rolling deeper than most. Yeah, we rolling deeper, so bump it in your speakers and let the daughters freak you the most. Come get freak. We rolling deeper, the in the freezer. We with the most. We rolling deeper, so bump it in your Jeep because we rolling deeper than most. Don't you get too close, yo, but get a taste of the Mac flow. The hit kicking, pistol whipping, young ass micro. CMG gets funky when she grip on the mic seat, killing off them hookers and heifers and softly. Funky little child, reign born supreme like a queen. The bold is backhanded to hit the rap scene. Check it circles like that, cause I do work too, and I'm doing dirt, so be alert when I'm coming through. Still macking and pimping and around, stirring up grit when we hit with the conscious sound. So now you know what's the time when we hit the set, serving all your suckers so you never forget. We rolling deep, we rolling deeper, yeah, we rolling deeper. You know we rolling deeper than most. We rolling deeper, so bump it in your speakers and let the daughters freak you the most. Yeah, we rolling deeper, the
Welcome to the show. The first thing I want to know is the names. Your name?
CMG, special one.
And I know you're not a conscious daughter, but you're part of conscious daughter. What's your name, Chief?
I'm DJ Yanni Yan.
DJ Yanni Yan. Well, welcome to the show. The first thing, you guys are great rappers. How did you get your style? Talk to me. Tell me a little bit something.
Well, we've had a love for hip-hop since high school, and we've just loved the music so much. By listening to it, we created our own sound, our own style that we've grown with and matured and been able to come out with our first album, which is produced by Paris on Scarface Records. So it's, you know, it's basically the love for the music that just created Conscious Daughters.
Oh, okay. And the messages to your song, the lyrics and everything, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, it's just like
what women go through right now in the 90s is not necessarily teenage women, but like young adults as ourselves. You know, we have a song and album called Sticky Situation. It's like a one-night stand thing and what can happen. We took it to another level with pregnancy and stuff like that. But, you know, the album is just fun and it's what we do. We just ride in Oakland, you know what I mean? It's just like real.
Okay.
Expedition. A Fonky Expedition album.
Okay, well, thank you very much for being on the show. Will you guys come back again and do the show again? I know you're on tour right now. I got to go to Albuquerque, but thanks again. Conscious Daughters!
You know, some talk shows, and it was just a great. We went to all the award shows. We went to the Billboard Music Awards, and Salt and Pepper was there. I couldn't even talk. Like, I was like, what happened was I didn't have no warning. I turned around and my manager was like, CMG, look, this is Salt and Pepper, meet Salt and Pepper, and I wasn't ready. You know, I was like Cindy Brady did when she looked in the camera. I don't know if y'all seen the Brady Bunch. When they put her on TV, she was like, she didn't know what to say. So I didn't know what to say. We didn't even be like, can we get a picture? You know, we was trying to be cool, so we was like, maintain yourself. We were always trying to be cool. We met Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. You know, we met Jermaine Jackson and some of the Jacksons. I was like, is that Jermaine Jackson? And she was like, girl, that's Jermaine and Marlon. I was like, what? Is that Jermaine Jackson? Is that part of that? Okay, be cool, be cool. We took some pictures and stuff. We was like, be cool. The Booyah tribe loved us. Like, they thought I was Samoan. They was like, hey, you, come here. We've been waiting for you. And so they like, you in the family now. So they took us around. They was like, come on here, meet Marlon and the Jacksons and all these people. We was like, oh my God, oh my God. It was the greatest time of my life.
Right? Some of their people was doing security, the Booyah tribe.
I don't know. It was so many of them. I was just like, y'all beautiful. That's what I do know. But that's all I remember. But it was just a great experience. The music is not happening like that now. You know, you don't get to, these kids, they all jump on this. There's no performance. There's no show. Like, you know, we initially got our stage presence from the UMCs and the Fushnikins of all people, and the Beastie Boys, who was one of our favorite groups. The one thing about the Beastie Boys, every time they got on stage, they would go like this, and they was like, they had this thing that they did when they was like delivering this, and then it just kind of jumped into my body. So like I kind of like started doing, you know, more New York style stuff. And the Fushnikins and the UMCs came out here and they were on a tour, and we got backstage because we are huge fans of New York, period. Come here. Anybody from any artists from New York, come here, Kai. We were such big fans, so we did a show with them.
Oh wow. Out
here in San Francisco. And their manager, Tony Rasan. Hi Tony, I love you. He was like, you guys are hella good. He was like, I ain't seen no females like this ever. He was like, well, you know, he invited us to go on the rest of the tour with them. That was all around here. And it was like you know,
y'all had
3 weeks.
Strong delivery. Y'all wasn't playing.
Right. And when we got with the Fushnikins, when we got to the hotel, we went on tour with them, and we're stopping in strange places, and we're all at the hotel. We're all in the rooms together because we don't know nobody, right? And they're like, okay, this is what I need you to do. Every time, this is what Chip Fu said. He said, every mic you touch, you rip that mic. That mic, he said, you rip that mic. Never be boring on stage. And then the UMCs, they were like teaching us how to, because whenever they rap, they go back and forth to each other. They're talking to each other. They always taught us to like play off each other. They was giving us advice. So next thing you know, I'm looking at Carol. She climbing on speakers and shit. You know what I'm saying? She's over there and I'm over here. Like, utilize the stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, we learned so much from them. I thank them to this very day. I just love them. You know, I still hit them up on Instagram here and there, but it was a great experience having the New York inside of us with the gangster that comes from the Bay. Because we grew up on Too Short. I mean, we grew up on E40, Calvin T, a lot of the groups around here. So we already had that gangster mentality instilled in us. We was gonna talk some shit. But once we got that stage present, that really took us to, catapulted us like to a whole nother level. Because we got that stage presence from that New York state of mind.
Okay.
Basically.
Oh yeah. And I know you guys dropped like 3 or 4 singles on that first project. Can you let us know about those singles?
Yeah, so our first project we did, Fonky Expedition was the first one. Then we did Re-Roll Deep, which was basically just a song about, because we always wanted to write, we used to hang out at the lake a lot. Lake Merritt, we used to ride to Lake Merritt hella deep. You know what I'm saying? A little Honda. One thing we had was cars. Like with y'all, these kids now, they don't even know how to drive. Like we started driving at 12, 13, we was in cars, right?
For real.
So by the time I was 15, my mama gave me her red Honda. You know, she was like, well, you can have the, you know, they give you their car because they want to get a new one anyway. So she gave me the red Honda. And then my homegirl, Tanya, she had a little Pinto. It had curtains in the window. And she used to go, you know, gas brake dip, and the curtains would be swinging and shit. We used to ride out. We used to roll deep, you know, to the lake and just sit there and drink 40s and smoke weed and hide from the police. And, you know, it was just a great time. It was a great time, but that's why we did Re-Roll Deep. Then we did a third single called Shitty Situation.
Damn, another day, another problem. A sticky situation that I'm facing, how to solve them. You think it don't affect you, but you should really listen up to the conversation, cause the situation's critical. Let me tell you how it started when I first met him way back in the day at the lake, and it was federal, cause he was looking good enough to kill a stupid sucker phone. And nah, I wasn't caring, yeah, I'm staring, hell, I'm good to go. Said his name was John, living on the east side. I said I'm CMG, where I'm living, hell, I'm close by. Did the little number switch and everything was fine. Jumped back in the point, did stop and broke wine. See, you started off easy, talking on the telephone. Most of it was drag, but I wasn't really tripping, no. Thinking about the sex, not the flowers and the love letters. That's the way it is when you're young and you don't know no better. Next thing you knew, about a week passed by. I was laying up in this house and man, I couldn't keep quiet. He was digging up in the guts like the young brother lost something on. When stroke, with no joke, I mean he kept it coming. Early next day, I gave a friendly goodbye. A wet kiss and I'ma call you was his only reply. Feeling good cause I came up in hell, I can't lie. Looking forward to the next time, the second time. It's too fly, but Blab on that ass cause he never called, never came to visit, never tried to get in touch at all. Never sent a message in a bottle or a telegram. Never got a page and I faded and I hated stupid silly ass. Damn, that's kinda effed up, you know? Man, the hell was that fool, man? You was only out for one thing and you gave it to him like a dummy. Don't trip, though. What you need to do is find that player, get with that fool. Chuck ass Mark. Man, put that Chevy on full flat. Had that sucker walking around catching Bart. Coliseum Station.
About teenage pregnancy.
Okay.
And one thing Paris did was he said us being very, you know, 40-ounce slanging and weed smoking, and he didn't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? He was very much into the upliftment of black and colored people, just minorities, period, mostly black, you know. But so he said the one thing I want to do is on each album I want you guys to have a message, even though y'all be talking that shit. So the first album was shit, and he said he's gonna write it because, you know, I could never have written anything like that. He's a fucking master writer. So he wrote a song about teenage pregnancy called Shitty Situation. That was the third single on the first album. Shitty Situation.
Okay.
And the clean version was called Sticky Situation.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
we
every
did a video to that too.
I'm in Oakland and I go down like the Foothill or something like that. You guys' songs always come up.
Foothill Boulevard, the bumpy ass strip.
I always think about
and that's
that.
cold because we used to ride on that motherfucker, and I believe Carol got a flat a couple times on Foothill Boulevard. She used to live off of 35th, and so every time we used to just roll the strip. That was it. When that little McDonald's was popping, we was in that parking lot. They used to be doing before sideshows was sideshows. It was a sideshow, and it was only in one place. It wasn't all over the place. It was over there by the McDonald's, by the Eastmont Mall. That's where we used to hang out at.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's big. We used to go in there and get our jewelry. I still got a grill from Eastmont Mall, and it's fire too. That motherfucker's good quality. I gotta get it melted down though, cause my teeth done moved. It don't fit my.
T.Y. Uzis and stuff.
Oh yeah, T.Y. Uzis, Gap, and Marcus Bookstore. I mean, not Marcus. Yeah, the bookstore in there, Marcus Bookstore. I don't forget. See, that's another thing. My memory is going.
You good? So after the success of the first album, it motivated you guys. So you guys get back in the studio to work on the next project, and now is that still with Paris or?
Yeah, well, we weren't motivated. We had signed over to Priority Records, so we signed on to do 2 more albums. So, the next order of business was to get in the studio and do, you know, another album. And then we were like, well, do we want Paris to produce everything on the album? They gave us creative control. So we went and we got Rick Rock, and we went and we got Studio Tone.
And this is all for the second project?
Yeah.
So you got Rick Rock, Studio Tone, producing.
Yeah, we got, and then we got Tone Capone.
Tone Capone.
And Mike Mosley, I'm sorry, Mike Mosley. and Sam Bostic.
Mike Mosley and Sam Bostic.
Yes.
And then what was the first single on that? And what was the album called? Let the people know.
It was called Gamers.
Gamers,
The first album, the first single was called Gamers.
Gamers, okay.
Hold on 1 second.
And God did the video for that.
They calling me about the fight. Hold on. Yeah. What? Nah. I'm doing an interview right now. Can I call you back? You just come over.
For the liquid that I spill, cause all this game stacks a bill. Survival of the dames in the pal with a grip. And gamers play the fade fools when these busters slip. This cash making girl up and away from them setbacks to fat stacks and Cadillac. And old schools is cool, cause God is mine too. We gamers, lady ballers, or you could call us die-hard women with the max up and denim. And CMG is making moves, collecting dues, still mobbing through them East Bay avenues with that knack to attack any task they say can't be done by a female who's black. I'm buck wild with this, I play a right and go. I'm mobile phone things that I got on my own. Yeah, and I'ma get swole with my foes, stash away my cash, daughters hollering in a low. Check it out, y'all.
You better watch your back, cause a gamer is a woman that mad. Said a gamer loves to get scratched. They come in different sizes and patterns. You better watch your back, cause a gamer is a woman that mad. Said a gamer loves to get scratched. They come in different sizes and patterns.
Brokenness, I can't let that come into my mind. I need bills to fold the fat and I'll be fine. You know it's women in the town that really giving a damn. That's why every chance we get, we out to break you, man. I know the level is game. I'm taking this into my own hands. If I leave it up to partner, I'll be broke, man. So when he passes out off the bank, I turn crooked. The cash he didn't give me today, tonight I took it straight out his pocket. Yeah, girl, I got him. You gotta pay to play if you wanna hit that bottom. My golden life is to be rich. Yeah, what? To roll down Foothill Boulevard in a Brinks truck. At home, a bin sits in my driveway a mile long. I'm perched up, fenced off, I want my private zone.
So Gamers was, it did really well. You know, we went right back on tour again. So a lot of good road money, you know, with that. We did all the summer jams across the country. You know, every KMEL, like KMEL had a summer jam. All the radio stations across the country did the same thing. So we were able to get back on tour with all of the big name artists, Ice Cube, and it just was, I can't even remember. There's a plethora of whoever was popping. We were there.
That's big right there.
Yes, I want to take all my old pictures from the 90s and put them all together in this nice little photo album, booklet, documentary, and start working on getting that together. So
yeah,
to share
you gotta show the people that.
Yeah, for sure. We gotta do it.
So how was that second album? Everything with all that?
Yeah, it went good. I mean, it didn't sell as much as the first album, but you know, we cleared, you know, over 400,000 copies. So that was good. But see, I need to check my status on the plaques on that one.
Who are some of the artists besides doing the shows and stuff? Did you get a chance to network with any artists on your album?
You know, we didn't have as many features as I wanted. That's another thing.
Yeah, back then, a lot of people, we weren't doing a lot of features back then.
And it's just like, I don't know if it was just like, we don't need, I don't know. I don't want to say we were like that.
No, it's
we
just
don't.
how everybody
it just
was.
didn't
Everybody
come
just
to
kind of stuck to their own.
Yeah, and if you look at all of us coming up together, I mean, one thing that the Bay has is all of the 90s artists, we all love each other. We all came up together. I'm talking everybody you can think of. You know what I'm saying? From the whole Frisco team, San Quinn, Rapper Forte, Herm, Luke, everybody that's out there that was coming up. And then the Oakland, all the Oakland niggas and shit, everybody, the Loonies, everybody in Oakland, everybody in the Bay, period. we all were in the same circle at the clubs, the same clubs. We all ran into the, hey, you know, I talk to Money B now, you know, that's that's my brother, you know what I mean? Like, we are very well connected and loved, and even with 3 Times Crazy, they wrote a lot of their songs in my living room.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And a good portion of their album was written in my living room. I know where Fashizi and all that lingo comes from because I was there. And I know for a fact Keek the Sneak is the owner of all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I know because I was there. And him going around and sharing a lot of his work, you know, he's been bit off of a lot, you know, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. It's a blessing and a curse. But I'm just here to say, you know, that's all Keek. And possibly Bart and Adrian Man. I don't know who came up with what, but they had all that, and Harm from the Rich. They had all that lingo way back in the day, before we even came out. Like, I was hanging out with all the rappers before we were all somebody. We were all hanging out together anyway, because we were all on the same come up. And we would be at the same studios, and we'd be at the same clubs, and half of them be at my house because I always had so many, you know, barbecues.
Okay.
But yeah.
So most of the networking was just personal as friends,
right?
And then doing the shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, we all wanted to make it.
Y'all were just networking with producers mostly.
Yeah, we all wanted to make it, but we weren't hating on each other. We see each other, hey, what's up? You know, we all hanging out. So we having a barbecue, come over. We never looked at it like, you know, as being a competition. You know what I'm saying? Even with the women, Marvelous, Sugar T, Silky. There's a lot in 357. There's a lot of great women who have come out of the Bay Area, and you know, we're all cordial. We all kind of came up together. It wasn't about, you know, who's doing what. It wasn't about a competition. It was all about doing it because we loved it, and we had respect for each other. And you know, it's still that way.
So what happened with the group after those first 2 projects? Did you guys go on to do any more projects? I know you came.
Yeah, we did do a third. We did another album,
Okay.
But before we did that album, something happened.
Okay.
It was called Napster. So our second album came out in 95. Our first album came out in 93. Our second album came out in 95-ish. 95, 96.
Okay.
So at 95, 96, a problem happened. It was called Napster. And what Napster did, it took all of the CDs and the music that everybody was making and made it into a digital file called an MP3.
Okay.
The record labels, everybody panicked because all the music was being stolen.
Oh, wow.
I think I downloaded there were these little sites where you could go and download music because they learned how to decode the CD into a file that you could download on your computer. I downloaded the whole Stevie Wonder catalog, the whole Michael Jackson catalog. I swear I was in the house for 2 weeks because I knew it was gonna be cut off. I was downloading everything you could think of, all of the banjos, everything that was classic music. I didn't even get to the rap part yet. I started with the classics, like shit that I would never, like I was like, oh my God. I still have the hard drive that has probably over 1,000 MP3s that I downloaded in 1996. Oh, and I would do, because then they let you download the whole album. So I was getting this album and that album and this album. Oh, it was crazy. But Priority Records, it shut down, the industry shut down. Nobody was selling any music. They had to go to court to fight these people, this company called Napster, who was selling these MP3s to people. And it was just, it was crazy. So that took 2 years. No music was put out. It's in the history books. Okay, none of the record labels. Then they started merging and dropping people. So we got dropped from the label. I think it was around 98. Everybody on Priority got pretty much dropped. Like, they eventually merged with BMI came and brought Priority. It was this whole situation. So we sat around for a few years, and then finally Paris was like, fuck it, I'm gonna put the album out. You know, we did a third album called The Nutcracker Suite without them. And that's a great album. It's called The Nutcracker Suite. And when I was talking about how Paris does a message song on each album, the first one was Teenage Pregnancy. On the Gamers album, it was a song about AIDS called All Caught Up. And then our third album, The Nutcracker Suite, it was a song about domestic violence. Called Dirty Little Secret. So yeah, the third album, it did good as well, you know, but that was pretty much it, you know, and then, you know, not too long, you know, then Carol passed away, and we just kind of went on about our life. You know, I had a son, she adopted a child, and we just kind of, it wasn't important as much anymore, you know what I mean? It was like we had other things that we wanted to do. I did a solo album called The Jane of All Trades. Yeah, I did.
Before that though, can we ask if you don't mind telling, you know, can you ask what happened with Special?
Yeah, so Special One, so she, okay, so remember I told you she was a basketball star, right? She's been an athlete all her life. So in the 12th grade, she had orthoscopic surgery on her knee. And then probably about, let's see, 12th grade, 15, about 15 years later, her knee started acting up again. She had a second one. Then when she turned around 40, her knee was swelling up again. How old am I? So, 2010. So her knee started swelling up again, and she didn't really she wasn't taking care of her, so she didn't go to the doctor. Like, I should have been asking. We were doing shows, and she was like, oh wait, let me stretch my knee out. Her knee was always an issue. Turns out she had blood clots in her knee, and one of them went up to her lung, and she just dropped dead. So it was a pulmonary embolism, similar to what happened to Heavy D. You just drop dead. The doctor said she didn't feel herself hit the ground. That's how fast it kills you. Had she been having that knee check, but her knee was always swollen. Like, I would be like, and I kind of feel bad, like I should have been riding her harder on, like, are you getting this checked out? But I just wasn't tripping. I was like, okay, your knee hurts. Get in the car. And then we would do a whole show after the show. She'd be like, wait, I gotta ice my knee. And I'd be like, okay, you gotta ice, you know, it was just, it was stupid. But now that I look back, you know, I wonder, could I have really encouraged her to take better care of herself? You know what I mean? She just, yeah, and then she partied a lot. You know, Carol was very well known. She's a superstar. So she would go to the club, be out all hours of the night. And, you know, me, I had a son at the time, so we kind of did the split. You know, and then she would be mostly on the LGBT scene, and I mean, I would go every once in a while, but it's not my hangout spot. You know what I'm saying? Come here, Kai. What's this little boy? But it's not my hangout spot. You know what I'm saying? So once she started doing, you know, leaning more into that, it was just kind of separated. But we still talked all the time. We were still sisters. You know, so. But yeah, it was just a trip how everything turned out. But yeah, she was just, you know. She's my greatest angel, though. I tell you, I swear to God.
I believe
she's, man, she shows up. When I tell you she shows up, she's looking out for her sister. She ain't rushing it.
Yeah.
So
I'm blessed to hear that. Though.
Yeah. So
you put out your first project before that happened, or?
Well, I was working on it during the time, because we were working on another album together.
Okay.
But it was going kind of slow because she was doing a lot of partying and stuff. And I'm like, can you send me the verses? So we got to the point where I have a studio in my house. She was recording at her space. Like, she was recording her and like Keith and a bunch of people. They record at the studio with this guy. I forgot his name. So she was like, I'm going to so-and-so's house and I'm going to record there, because it was close to where she was at. So me, I recorded at the house. You know, I was done with going to studios. I had a kid and stuff, you know. So she was taking forever to send me the verses. So I just started doing my own album. The original idea was that we were gonna do like a speaker box album, where like Outkast did. They both did their own single album. It was like a 2-album set. That's how it was supposed to be.
Okay.
And then, but we are on each other's songs. Like, she's on my solo album, but she never finished hers, so I didn't ever get on what she was doing. She just didn't finish it. I moved way faster. Like, I was determined, and I think that a little more focused at the time, and she just was not as focused and doing it as quickly as I was, so it didn't happen. But I still got her on that album, The Jane of All Trades. Check it out.
Let them know about that project. I know you got a lot of different features on there that people are familiar with. You want to let them know about some of the features and producers you had on there?
Yeah, I went to Sony Red, and they gave me a nice little distribution deal to put the album out. And so I figured, like, who would I want on my album? So, you know, of course I got the Federation on there. Goldie Gold from Federation. San Quinn, somebody I've always wanted to work with, is on there. I got Mike Marshall. Look at all these rumors. on there because I love his voice. I have an awesome saxophonist named Tony Exum. I got Keith Murray, who is a great friend of mine. You know, I had that New York touch on there.
That's big right there.
And then I have, got me on the spot. It's more. Mr. Fab is on there, and then I got, there's some more people on there. I can't think right now, but check it out. Yeah, it's a great album. I'm real happy about it.
When year did that album come out?
That came out in 2011, and Carol passed it that year. So I didn't spend a lot of money on promoting it that much, just because of what happened. You know, I was just not trying to promote my music when my best friend and my sister just passed away. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Again, we're sorry to hear about that too. She was very talented, and
absolutely.
Thank you for letting us know.
And crazy, you know, all the
sports stuff too, because that's like pretty big. That's probably something a lot of people definitely don't know.
Yeah, she was real dope. Oh, also, I want to add on that sports thing. She played Little League with the boys, and she was all-star.
What?
In like elementary school. So she was playing baseball when she was like, you know, 9, just racking them out the park. All-star. And I'm like, oh wow. So she's always had that sport thing about her, you know what I'm saying? So
nice. So besides, you know, the solo project that you put out and everything was Special One, is there anything else we might have been missing out during them times? Anything you could share with us about during them times, some things you were doing? I know you had
really just like, you know, television things here and there. You know, we've done some documentaries and appeared on different things. Like I did a couple of episodes of Unsung, and you know, there's a Hip Hop Evolution on Netflix that came out. You know, I'm happy
to be on you.
No, it's not on us. No, I just was on it. Like it was E40 and Too Short.
Okay.
You know, just being a part of that, and then.
So you kind of told some of the story.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, basically able to share some stuff on there because you know we go so far back with them.
Yeah, that's tight.
And
VH1, right?
Yep. No, that's TV1.
TV1. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's TV1.
Can we ask you, like, what are some of the things that you're doing now? Are you still kind of messing with the music at all? Are you doing anything in the industry at all? You got any
I'm
plans?
glad you asked. So I'm still doing throwback shows, which is awesome because people still think to invite me to come. And like recently, right before the pandemic, I had just got off doing shows with Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick,
wow,
Nice and Smooth, and Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick, Nice and Smooth, and Houdini.
Wow.
When I tell you I was in there like this, like I had never met, like I met Houdini before, we've done shows with them, but I've never met Slick Rick. And that to me, there's nothing you can say. Like everybody probably walks up to him and be like, oh, I love you. What do you say to Slick Rick when you meet him?
Those are the pioneers.
Right. and there was no words I could say besides, you know, just talking to him. Like, you don't understand. I was in fucking 8th grade, 9th grade listening to this shit. It was my fucking world. Like, that is crazy.
Real talk.
Just crazy. And I just walking up to him, aside from just grabbing him, and his wife was right there. I was like, I'm just trying not to put my hands on him and just, you know, grabbing him, you know. But I just was like, all right, just be cool, you know what I'm saying? Same with Big Daddy Kane. Never met Big Daddy Kane until right before the pandemic. So it was just such an honor, you know, to be able to perform with them. You know,
I mean, how does that feel? I mean, you know, you're a pioneer, and they actually put you in the mix of some of the biggest pioneers to ever do it. That's how they look at you. I mean, that's a blessing.
There's no feeling like them knowing who the fuck I am. And when they say Fonky Expedition, I remember that. That right there made my day. You actually know who I am. And you're not, you know, just because a lot of artists be like, all right, nice to meet you. You don't really know if they know who you are, you know. But when they be like, Fonky Expedition, okay, yeah, I remember that. And then y'all was in that red car with it. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's big. So
that's big. I mean, you're touring with the pioneers of pioneers, which makes you.
Thank you. Shout out, Beat That Track. Shout out, Beat That Track. The guy who put that on, his name is Beat That Track. He definitely put me on. So I owe him a lot for that.
So you're doing that. Anything else that you're working on now?
Yeah. So I started a record label. Which is the best thing ever. Yeah. So here's the thing. This is something I've been wanting to do. Haven't been able to find no artists that make me want to spend my money. You know, my first thought was like, let me go find some female rappers. Well, that didn't work. Like, I'm looking, I'm telling people, I'm all over social media. I just didn't like, not to say, now I can say this. I'm a hard act to follow. So, coming along, I would never be cocky or anything, but in all honesty, you know, I'm a legend now. I'm able to say, check this out, I'm a legend. I know what I'm looking for. And I'm not looking for somebody to sound like the 90s. I'm looking for somebody that has the integrity and the presence that we had, or I have, in today. I don't want no girl that's just like, I understand what they like, and now I'm doing a little more studying, and I'm doing a new search for female rappers, but I actually found a male rapper. His name is Pedro Pesos. Okay. He's not from the Bay. I met him through my brother, who is from the Bay and Minneapolis, and so he called me. He said, you got to check this guy out. Pedro Pesos is my first artist. He's going to be released in August. We're working on his stuff right now. We just finished his album, and he's just a remarkable MC. His pen game is sick, and you know, it was a lot for me to choose. It's a lot for me to choose somebody. Oh, yeah. And in order for me to put my money on the line, I have to know that I can step to a friend like Sway and say, hey, I'm bringing him to your show, and he ain't scared. You know, I need somebody that can freestyle. When I take you to the Sway show, I need you to get up there and just blow everybody's fucking mind. That is the level that I want. I don't want you to be shy. I can't fuck with no newbies, right?
So it's like it's your name. Once you bring someone that ain't cool, then they'll be like hesitant on your next person.
Right. So that being said, I can't deal with inexperienced. I can't deal with, I just started and I'm brand new. I need some direction and some help. I can't do that. Pedro Pesos was already packaged up. He's been doing it. He's lightweight seasoned already. He's a performer. He knows how to perform. I had to get up and say, you know, he knows how to perform. I've seen, you know, enough footage of him to feel comfortable with putting him on stage. And now, you know, we're like this, you know, he's like my nephew at this point.
Anything else maybe coming up that you would like to let the people know, maybe that you didn't, you know, share with us? You think of?
Well, you know, my album, my record label is called Fame, F-A-I-M, and it stands for Famous Artists in Music and Movies. Okay. So we're developing, he's also an actor, and so I'm also an actress. So we're gonna be, you know, popping up on some shows and some commercials soon. Don't laugh, no, it's fine. And you know, I'm gonna do a documentary. I have a couple of documentaries that I'm working on right now with some prominent people, actually, some filmmakers who said, "Hey, I love what you have to say." And luckily, because you know I have early Lucasfilm stock, I'm gonna cash some of those out, and I have money to be able to fund these projects. Thank God. Now that I'm older and you know I made wise decisions in my investments, you know, now I'm taking the time to say now's the time for me to take this money and spend it. I've been so hesitant. Now's the time. You know, I'm 50, so you know I'm about to just take the plunge and indulge in new businesses. You know, I'm trying to get some sponsors. And you know, just move as a mogul. I'm channeling my inner Kris Jenner. I'm about to put out some kids and you know see where it goes. I got some actors, some actresses, and some rappers, some singers. Only one of which I will mention now because that's what's done. Pedro Pesos. Okay. And so you can check him out on Instagram at Senor Pedro Pesos. He's Black, Mexican, Indian, Black, Mexican, and Native American. Oh wow. So you know, it's representing everything that is. That means the world. Very diverse. Very handsome young man. So, you know, just check it out. Nice. You can find me in all social media platforms. I run all the Conscious Daughters pages. Okay. So you type in Conscious Daughters, you'll get to me. For sure. So thank you.
You're welcome, man. You know, we thank you and congratulations on everything that you're doing now.
Congratulations to you. Your show is popping.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, you know, I'm going to come back and do another one. I'm going to let him get a little big. As soon as he's big, don't get too big-headed where you can't call me back.
Never.
Do another
we're blessed to be here, man. With you, you know, CMG. You know, we really thank you. You know, one of the reasons why we're here, Nico Vision's here, CMG, is you know we want to thank you for like everything that you did for this industry. You know what I'm saying, for being one of the first females, not only like I said out the Bay Area, but pretty much the West Coast. You know, representing the ladies. You know, and we appreciate everything. We want to give you all your flowers, all your props, all your praises, all your blessings, and we thank you for like everything that you have done. We thank you for your time. Once again, everybody, on Nico Vision Media, we are here with no other than CMG, Conscious Daughters. Yeah.
Hey now, it's Nico Vision right here. And me, CMG from the Conscious Daughters. You know what we do? We cooking up some hot shit. You better tune in.
Tune in, you heard it.
One love.
One love.
Come and catch a thrill with the super skill rhyme flowing. Daughter on attack with the next. Keep your speakers blowing. Riding with a gap in my lap and one finger on a zap. Looking for some brothers in a Cadillac. Yeah, we on point, rolling in a point. Special one is CMG, blazing up a ounce. Keeping a steady pace in a car race. Siding on a strip with a grip and an ace in my glove case.